Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Administrator, for being here today. Biofuels are a great market for Nebraska's farmers, and it provides clean burning and cheaper fuel for American families. Sustainable aviation fuel is another important potential market for Nebraska's biofuels. Secretary Vilsack has encouraged the biofuels industry to lean into that SAF market, saying to a group last year, quote, "I want you all to understand this is a critical moment, a make or break moment. And if it's not seized and not taken full advantage of, you may have a different conversation years from now." Well, yesterday, an interagency task force, which included your agency, released an updated GREET model to determine the carbon intensity of fuels for the credit. And I'm still reviewing the updated model that you sent out, but it seems to mandate a set of conservation practices that corn and soybean farmers must do in order for the SAF to qualify for the tax credit. Additionally, with this updated modeling, corn and soy-based biofuels, even if they complete the additional conservation practices, would still be deemed more carbon intensive than Brazilian sugarcane ethanol. My concern is that this is going to lead to taxpayer dollars incentivizing imports of foreign fuel. So, Administrator, I would hope that the Biden administration would not have knowingly released an updated model that favors foreign feedstocks by imposing barriers for U.S. biofuels to qualify for that SAF tax credit. Is it your belief that the U.S.-produced biofuels are less sustainable than foreign feedstocks like Brazilian ethanol, as the updated model seems to indicate?
Well, what I would say is that, number one, I agree wholeheartedly with Secretary Vilsack that this is a great moment in time, and I believe that SAFs have a great opportunity here. Our role in the interagency focused on updating the GREET model was to ensure that we gave all farmers options to comply with the Clean Air Act. So what I think you'll see with this updated model, and what I've heard farmers say, is that there's more flexibility in how this model is going to determine the outputs to ensure compliance with the Clean Air Act. I think the design of conservation programs and tax policy, well, those questions are probably better steered to USDA or Treasury. I'm not an architect of how those programs work, and I tell you that my focus was to ensure that we put a product across the finish line that gave farmers maximum flexibility and options for Clean Air Act compliance.
Oh gosh, I think you're going to be hearing from corn producers all across the country, and especially Nebraska. The requirements we see on this updated model that came out from you folks, it really has rather stringent requirements that have to be met, and it's a number of requirements that have to be met. And as I said earlier, you know, the Brazilian sugarcane ethanol is going to qualify for taxpayer dollars, United States taxpayer dollars, where when I'm hearing from my producers is they're not going to be able to meet this new model that came out. Do you think maybe you need to relook at what that model's doing?
You know, I think what we should probably do is have our staff compare notes. That's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that we have produced a product that allows for our farmers to compete in a global market as we look at filling this SAF gap. So I'd love for our teams to kind of talk a little bit about that.
Oh, I would too, because the air fuel that the Secretary Vilsack was very excited about and looked at as another avenue to really help farmers, ag producers, be able to open up another market for them. That was a very positive step. And we feel now that we're going backwards. We're going the other way. So I look forward to having a continued conversation with you on that.
Yes.
I've also heard from numerous public power districts and electric co-ops about the regulations you released last week on power plants. In Nebraska, we're a total public power state. And we're seeing a dramatic increase in electric demand because of increased economic development, which is a good thing. We like to see that. And the public power districts and our electric co-ops, they've expressed concern that EPA's rule jeopardizes affordability and reliability by foreseeing the premature closure of coal-powered plants. And you've been quoted as saying, the EPA knows the potential of this industry, power generators, and we've been talking to this industry. They provided us comments over the past 2 years, formally and informally. We believe that we have those interests baked in. Yet, the National Rural Electric Cooperatives Association stated, the path outlined by the EPA is unlawful, unrealistic, and unachievable. It undermines electric reliability and poses grave consequences for an already stressed electric grid. So how do you square your comments that rural electric interests are baked in with the rural electric industry describing the rule as unlawful, unrealistic, and unachievable?
Yeah, I feel that it's unfortunate that it's described that way. I would say that when you look at what we proposed, the enormous amount of comments that we accepted from EEI and from rural electric cooperatives, I think that the rule gravitated towards a level of flexibility and expansion that took a lot of what they said very serious. And so I believe that not only did we listen, but we produced a lawful rule. I'm sure that the courts and others will decide. But when you look at the work that we've done with DOE and FERC and those who specialize in grid reliability, this meets the mark. We understand that there will not be jeopardy in reliability based on this rule. And when we did the cost analysis, we looked at a potential increase in cost of between 0 and 1%. And so I feel very good about the rule that we proposed. And we'll look forward to the implementation processes and working with the states to be sure that the flexibilities that we believe are there are actually built in.
Well, with all due respect,
Senator Fischer?
I would say our Nebraska public power districts and co-ops, again, public power, they're opposed to the regulations because they do believe it's going to really hurt our affordable electric generation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.